All right. Ace Attorney Investigations 2 Prosecutor's Gambit. I completely forgot the name of the game already. It'll be a fun one, let me tell you. I'm already forgetting the name of the game. That'll be all kind of walked up. Aha. Into the game. March 29th. 10:12 a.m. Oh, we slept in a little bit today, apparently. That's fine. For the best. Prison yard. Here we are again. Let's hope we can find something this time that will finally reveal the truth behind it all. Although that might be easier said than done. There's nothing left to investigate. Judge Gavel's deduction yesterday. There is another possibility, one you seem to have overlooked. A well in the yard. Could a body not have entered the tunnel from there? In summary, the body must have been thrown down the well and moved to the workshop. At some point during the show. Tell me, who else could have done that but Mr. Saint? Not much of a saint if he threw a body down a well. Had Knight's body really been thrown down the well? The answer to that question will surely show us the way forward. But before we begin, I should tidy up my organizer a little. Oh, okay, but by evidence. Well, that doesn't come to bite me in the fuckus. Fuckus. Let's see here. Ah, there's a cover on it. Dried up well, slap bang in the middle of a prison? Figures it'd be locked. Well, duh. Well, luckily I'm a master lock picker. Want me to do my stuff? I think not. We'll do this investigation by the book. Come on, don't be such a stick in the mud. Whoa! What is it, Kay? The lock's broken, and from the looks of it, it's been broken for a long time. If that's the case, then anyone could have thrown Knight's body down the well. Judge Gavel's theory was that Mr. Saint carried out the murder here in the yard. Then during the performance, he threw the body down the well. What are you thinking, Miles Areno? Plausible or no? Oh, why don't we see if Missile can help us out again? He'll be able to tell us if Mr. Knight's body was here, and which way it went. Good idea. I'll call Detective Gumshoe. Call my boyfriend. It's my boyfriend. Gumshoe speaking. Detective, I need your assistance. Come to the prison yard and bring Missile with you. You bet, sir. Gumshoe's 7 secret weapons to the rescue again, huh? Fairly sure Missile belongs to the precinct. I'd also like you to bring one of our witnesses. Call the Very Big Circus and ask Miss Regina Berry to come down here with you. Yes, sir. I'll be there before you know it. Oh, leave Regina alone. So, what shall we do while we're waiting for Gummy? How about a quick game of hide and go seek? Fun idea, kiddo, but where exactly would we hide? He's not seriously considering. Your game can wait, Kay. We need to call on one of the more practical skills. I think you know one. Oh, you bet I do. One crime scene recreation coming right up. Say what now? Let me show you. Introducing a great thief's great secret weapon, Little Thief. Whoa! Screens appearing from thin air. This is some next level tech, sis. Want to talk me through the deets? What are you doing now? I'm inputting everything we need for the simulation. Allow me to explain. This is Mr. Thief. It's a device that can recreate crime scenes at specific moments in time based on the data you feed it. Also, I seriously freaking want one of these. Just saying. How about I start us off with a recreation of what the yard looked like yesterday? Good idea. That was when they were in the middle of tearing down the stage. We didn't pay much attention to the well then. Who knows? We may have overlooked something. Leave it to me. I'll use the photo I took. Beepity beep boop beep. That's all the data. Just gotta pump the projection power to max and dark skies of evening, when no other bird dares to wing, one alone remains all seen. Now, witness the true power of a real modern-day Robin Hood. Oh, is that what we're calling ourselves now? Is Robin Hood? Yikes! What is this? It's a recreation of how things were yesterday, modeled on the data I gave Little Thief. The gadget was a tool used by the original Yatagarasi, but they used it to plan robberies. Well, there's no harm in using it for something on the right side of the law now. Oh, but keep in mind that it can only recreate what you tell it to. It can't simulate things it doesn't have data for, and if the data itself contains mistakes, then you'll wind up with those same mistakes in the recreation too. But this particular recreation is based on case photos, so we shouldn't run into any problems. That's enough preamble. Shall we get started? Don't forget, you can examine stuff in the recreation just like in real life. You can also present evidence to try to clear up any inconsistencies you find. Of course, thank you for the reminder. Let's take a look at that well. Examine this area carefully. It may just hold the clue we need. What are a bunch of pulleys doing here? They don't seem to be well pulleys for lifting buckets. There's a sturdy-looking hemp rope lying on the ground. Kinda reminds me of the ropes we used for playing tug-of-war in school. The answer is no, okay? But I didn't even say anything yet. I see it also has a metal stake attached to one end. Oh yeah, it looks like something you'd use to put up a tent. There's no tent, is there? In which case, what was it used for? It's a metal weight of some kind. It looks like it weighs... Projection makes it a little tricky to read. You remember how heavy it was, okay? Sure, it was 30 pounds. What does anyone need such a heavy weight for anyway? Doesn't seem related to the circus show at any rate. The well was behind the stage, which means there aren't many people who could have thrown Knight's body down it during the show. This is looking worse and worse for Mr. Saint. So, what do you think all the stuff around the well was used for? I can't see any of the animals needing them for part of their performance. Indeed, nothing immediately strikes me as a likely purpose. We'll have to ask Miss Barry later. Looks like this was designed for raising and lowering a bucket. No sign of the bucket, though. Yes, this is where the circus show stage stood. That was rough to get out. Do you think people would be interested in a great thieving show? I'm sure the police would be very eager to attend. Chairs. These chairs must have been for the audience. Wow, I pity whoever had to put them all away. Really? Why? You've clearly never had to fold up a bunch of boring chairs before. Not personally. I've told other people to do it, though. Come on, Mr. Edwards. You gotta roll up your sleeves and help out once in a while. I'll consider it. I want a wicker basket, or rather a cart given the Hey, wouldn't it be fun to hop in and race it down a hill? Oh, you know what else would be fun? Racing down a hill on office chairs. Where did any of that come from? Teenager. Dude, like what? What was the name of our trunk happy friend again? Thea the Asian elephant. Star of the show alongside Regent, the tiger, and Saint. Of course, how could I forget? Not exactly inspired though, is it? Isn't Barry having an off day? What's up with it? Oh my gosh, Mr. Edgeworth, not in front of the poor elephant herself. I suspect that's all there is to find for now. Detective Gumshoe should be here soon, too. Okay, can you power down Mr. Thief now? Sure thing. Prepare to return to normality. Destination. Sorry, sir. I came as quick as I could. Oh, what's wrong with the dog? Ah, speak of the devil. Ah, detective. That was indeed impressively quick. You know me, sir. Never did I like to keep you waiting. Thanks for coming all this way too, Regina. No problem. This seemed way more fun than rehearsals, so I ditched them for the day. You're hopping around. It's very much appreciated. Alright, detective. Let's get started with Missile. Yes, sir. Hey, Missile. Over here, boy. What the hell is his problem? What's the matter? Come on, boy. What's wrong with him? Looks like he's scared of something, sir. Oh? Yeah? I don't blame the dog and the alligator. Guess he's not a fan, sir. Well, I doubt he'll be he'll be of much help to us like this. Any other bright ideas, Milesarino? Milesarino? Yes, actually. Miss Barry, would you mind lending us a hand? Oh, I'd love to. Just tell me what you need. You mean to teach Allie some tricks? I don't doubt she could do it. What? Nothing quite like that. I'd simply like an account of what the yard looked like during the show. I like where this is going. You're thinking of using Little Thief again, am I right? If you'd be so kind. I don't blame Missile for being afraid of the alligator in the slightest. Beep, 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 beep. Okay, I've plugged in all the data. Firing up the simulation. Seriously, I want one of these. I know they're not possible, but... here you go. This is what the yard was like during the show. The time at which the body was purported to have been thrown down the well. Oh, wow! This is so amazing. It's like magic. No magic here, just sweet, sweet data. Which is why... the area behind the stage is missing. Yeah, Regina said she wasn't involved in getting the stage set up. So we don't have any data on what it was like back there. No data, no simulation, huh? Brutal. I'm so sorry, you guys. It's all because I let Simeon do everything by himself. Oh, no. It's all my frilly associate's fault. Objection, Fender. Anyway, we've got a fresh simulation now, but we still have the other data, too. I can switch back whenever you want to... the recreation of them taking down the stage. So we can examine the scene both during and after the show. And switch between the two at will. Switch between recreations using X to talk to... Is it not? No? Okay, here's the tiger. A story of a forbidden love between a tiger and an elephant. Wish I could have seen it. Wish I could have seen Simeon up on that stage, too. That's a tiny-ass elephant. Oh, he was wonderful. The way he flew off that stage. Ah, yes, that scene. The victory is depicted in a very unique manner, whereby the villain is sent flying from the stage. Bitch. Having been ejected from the stage in this manner, the villain no longer appears in the performance. And you're saying that crime took place during that time? Roughly how long would you say Mr. Saint was off stage for, Miss Berry? Let's see. I guess it was around 15 minutes? Just as Judge Gavale said. Isn't it pretty hairy health and safety-wise to have an elephant fling a guy off the stage? Not at all. Isaiah is very gentle. It's probably that thing's name is probably Asia, but I like Isaiah better. Asia the Asian elephant sounds wild. I'm not sure it changes much if she flings him gently or roughly. Too gentle, in fact. When we first rehearsed it, she barely nudged him. But by the end, he was flying off that stage. Not because of Isaiah, though. Simeon had figured out some kind of trick, apparently. Isn't that amazing? A trick? Do you have any idea what kind of trick? Who, me? Oh, no. It was Simeon's big thing. I wouldn't know where to start. Literally me on stage. I don't know what else happened. Huh? The basket was empty in the other recreation. Oh, yeah, but it was definitely empty in the photo I took, too. Oops, sorry. I made a mistake when I was filling you in earlier. Oh? That basket's for holding Isaiah's food. On the morning of the show, all the apples that were in it had vanished. Oof. I totally forgot to mention it. Sorry. Disappearing apples? I should make note of this. Do elephants eat apples? I don't know much about elephants, if we're being honest. And then that held Isaiah the Asian elephant. Now empty as the lady herself is on stage. Wonder how they got right here in the first place. What do you mean? Well, the entrance to the art is people-sized. And there's like a gazillion megawatts pumping through that fence. Kind of risky, no? Not if one turned off the electricity. Yeah, but then all the prisoners would escape. Entrance blocked by an elephant? I think not. This is a real puzzler, alright. I'll need to give it some more thought. She seems to be enjoying the challenge. I'll leave her to it. The chairs are lined up neatly for the show. Though we know there were a few empty seats during the performance. Huh? Something about this space. The way the seats are arranged. Reminds me of a karaoke contest I entered as a kid. You entered a karaoke contest? I sure did, and I came in second. Even in the depths of night, when no other bird dares to take light, one alone soars to shine the light of righteousness on the world's blight. Tell me you didn't actually sing that. I sure did. You'd rather take second place, or perhaps stole is more apt. Or is it more that she failed to steal first place? I'm overthinking this. It would appear that we're missing some data for this point in time. Yep, that's about the size of it. You gotta go steal us some data. I don't steal data, okay? I use logic and deduction to get what I need. I'm a nerd. Well, I'm more of an act first, think later gal. Please don't add to my workload with your recklessness. I would hate to have to order your arrest. The trick Mr. Saint performed for his big scene. Did it have something to do with all the items we found by the well? Okay, I'd like to have another look at the equipment around the well from yesterday. Can you have Mr. Thief bring up the recreation from when they were tearing down the stage? You got it! Taking another look at these items, could they not have been used for this trick of Mr. Saint's? Sounds plausible enough. Hey, I could maybe add it to the simulation. Good idea. Please go and ask Mr. Saint for details. Roger that. I'll be right back. And he's dead. I'm back, and he told me exactly how he did it. Excellent. Well, how does it work? He said he used the pulley at the top of the well to suspend a heavy weight from a rope. Lowered that down into the well. The other end of the rope went through 2 more pulleys, and it was tied around his body. I see. He used the downward pull of the weight to help him launch himself into the air. How did he make sure the weight only dropped when he wanted it to? He used a stake to stop it. That's how. Miss Barry didn't seem to know anything about the trick, or the contraption he built for it. In which case, I suppose it must have been Mr. Saint himself who pulled out the stake. That's right, and to do that, he used a second length of rope. He tied it to the stake, and then, when he gave it a sharp tug, the stake was released, and the weight dropped down the well. That sounds kind of fun, actually. It's a great trick. I have to steal it. This has to go in the Great Beast repertoire. It may not be quite that easy. These kinds of circus tricks can require years of practice to master. Simply stealing the idea won't be enough. Alright, practice it is then. Well, before you run away to do so, do you mind updating the simulation? Oh, right. Then we can see how it all worked for ourselves. Okay, I'm switching back to the recreation of the performance. And now, to add in the data, Little Thief should be able to reproduce the trick now. This is how Mr. Saint performed this trick. You able to unlock the well? That's the part I'm getting out of this. Simeon's full of surprises, huh? I mean, dropping a weight down a well to help him fly off the stage like that? That's genius. Indeed. But I imagine he would have needed quite a lot of weight. More than him, at the very least. Ew, you don't think. I honestly don't remember this part of this one. Yeah, and probably a ton of practice. Wait, doesn't this seem odd to you? You haven't noticed, Detective? There's something strange about the weight we found. One weight on its own wouldn't be heavy enough. A single 30-pound weight couldn't have lifted Mr. Saint off the ground. Oh, yeah. In which case, could there perhaps be some weights missing? Sounds like a job for my 7 secret weapons, sir. Use them arise. I suppose I should speak with him then. Bad as it looks, sir. Poor little guy's scared. Another typo. Poor little guy's scared out of his skin. I'd hope to have him track that scent again. That clearly isn't in the cards now. Wait, hold on. What am I missing? I skipped it all whole thing. Don't say a word, sir. I know just what you're looking for. It's written all over your face. It is. This will maybe temporarily out of action, but my fishing rod is good to go whenever you need it. Oh, and if you want to give the metal detector a shot, I have that too. I've never seen him so excited. Alright, that's it. Now for more logic. Detective, I have need of one of your secret weapons. Roger that. The metal detector, if you would be so kind. Ah, jeez. I'm never gonna get to use my fishing rod. Just go fishing. You're a detective. I'm sure you have some PTO. So, before we get started, let me run you through how the metal detector works, sir. It's simple enough. It uses this sound. This gauge, and to tell you how close you are to something made of metal. The closer you get, the more strongly it'll react. When it starts going wild like this, just give me the order to examine the spot where I'm standing. Hey, what do we got here? Oh, the fence. Anyway, that's how it all works. You tell me where you want to look, sir, and I'll get right on it. Oh, I'm controlling Gumshoe! Alright, sir, let me explain how the metal detector works. Did not say to press X to do it? Am I stupid? My own design. The closer I get, the wilder it goes. And when it starts going nuts, it's time to examine that spot. You don't need to get your hands dirty though, sir. Get in there and tell me what to do. Sir, I'm picking up something over here. Let's take a little look-see. Huh? Found these little guys in the grass. They're the same as the weight we found by the well. It must be from Mr. Saint's trick. Did someone hide these here on purpose? I count 4 altogether, sir. They would be more than heavy enough to send him flying. How did you miss 4 30-pound weights? Well, I guess there's an alligator in there. I wouldn't have paid much attention there myself. So somebody hid several of the same weights as the one by the well. But why? Why over here? Yes, nice work, me. Oh, hell no. Alligator! That thing nearly gave me a heart attack. Huh? What's the matter, detective? It's the metal detector, sir. It's, reacting to the alligator. What? How? You're sure it's not responding to the weights we just found? No, sir. I'm sure this is something different. And I'm sure it's coming from the alligator. Okay, bye-bye. And she's gone. Oh, she's laughing. Ah, we scared that big snapper good. I don't think that's it, Kay. Huh? Then what is it? Ellie hasn't been herself lately. That's Allie, the warden's favorite pet. She wouldn't even look at the food warden the guard brought her yesterday. She was acting as if, I don't know, as if maybe she'd eaten something that didn't agree with her. Maybe the metal detector was responding to whatever she ate, sir. Oh no! What if she ate one of the weights? I highly doubt that even an alligator could swallow a 30-pound lump of iron. So what did the metal detector pick up? Dun, dun, dun! And why would someone hide those weights? Perhaps I missed something when I looked at the equipment by the well. Okay, could you recreate the scene again? Coming right up! See, I freaking want one of these. This is just wild. I scour the scene and inspect anything that catches my attention. Can I look at the weight again? I don't know what the hell I'm supposed to do. So this rope was used in Mr. Saint's trick during the show. It's one heck of a setup to pull off with a single length of rope. Simeon's more capable than he looks. Just one piece of rope? It seems we have a contradiction on our hands. Alright, this right here. Oh, am I supposed to just deduce? Oh, yeah. These be related to the evidence somehow? Eureka! Eureka! Think about the two recreations. The one during the performance and the one we're looking at right now. There's a major difference between the two. Namely, that one of the ropes is missing. Oh, yeah! Mr. Saint's trick wouldn't work with only the items we see before us. So what happened? Where did the missing rope go? I think one of the pieces of evidence we collected might tell us exactly that. Really? It shows us where the missing rope went. I'm assuming this. Take that! That's gonna tell us where the rope went, sir? Indeed. Okay, so where did it go? What the hell? Did I not just present this? Oh. Take that! I'm ahead a couple steps. This rope was found beside Nant's body. Wait, you mean... Yes, it must have been the other rope used in Mr. Saint's trick. So you're saying... Yes, that this rope did indeed have a weight attached to it. But it wasn't any of the iron weights we found. Those were hidden in the bushes and replaced with something else. What was it, Mr. Edgeworth? Come on, I'm dying here. Think about what the rope we found in the workshop was related to. Do that and you'll soon figure out the answer. The weight dropped down the well in place of the iron weights was... Take that! It could only have been Mr. Knight's body that was dropped down the well. What? Mr. Knight's body was the weight? Yes. Somebody swapped out the weights used for Mr. Saint's trick. Then Mr. Saint used the contraption to make his exit from the stage. When he let the rope around his body loose, both the rope and Knight's body fell to the bottom of the well. That rope was never used to restrain Knight. It was used to suspend his body halfway down the well. This, we can easily see why most of the weights were hidden, so that no one would realize they'd been replaced with the body. Precisely. We can then further deduce that they were hidden by the killer. Whoa there, gang. Wasn't poor old Bronco stabbed in the neck? Wouldn't there be blood everywhere, including down the well? Oh, the killer thought of that, which is why he used this.
Take that!
Bloody tarp. This tarp was found with the body. I think it's likely that Knight's corpse was wrapped in it. Ooh, another piece of the puzzle falls into place. It's all coming together now. Love it. Love that for you. But all we're doing is proving that the body did go down the well, which means we're helping to prove that Simeon was the killer. No, not quite. What about what Judge Cavell said yesterday? But if Mr. Saint truly is the killer, why would he need to go to such lengths to commit his crime? That's true. Knight's body fell down the well when Mr. Saint used his contraption during the show. Therefore, it reveals nothing about where the real killer actually was or what they were doing at the time. It's only designed to throw suspicion onto those who were not at the show. Yeah. I guess we did suspect Mr. Canis right away, sir. Uh-huh. So you see everybody saying sir in every other line. That was the killer's goal, to make us think that the crime took place during the show. In other words, they used the well contraption to construct an alibi. Miss Barry, when exactly did Mr. Saint put his contraption together? It would have been the day before the show. The night before, actually. Yes, we started getting ready for the show at around 9 p.m. And I think we finished at around midnight. In which case, this killer must have switched the weights out for the body after that point. Did Canis know about this contraption? Even if he did, he wouldn't have been able to do much with it. I highly doubt that he taught his dog to suspend bodies halfway down wells. Which means Canis isn't the killer. Well, no, the man is blind. Ding, ding. The apples in the basket were likely eaten by Isaiah. Really? That's strange. I made sure to put the cart where her trunk couldn't reach them. Are you sure about that? Oh yes, it was still full of apples the night before the show. We must consider the possibility that the cart was moved to somewhere within Isaiah's reach. The large basket full of apples couldn't have been moved by the wind. Which likely means somebody moved it for a reason. Actually, hold on. Did Isaiah have a different name in the translation? I think it might have. I think she might have. She did! Astique. Astique. No, Isaiah's better. So before the show had even started, the cart had been moved, and its apples eaten. Yes, that seems to be the most probable timeline. Let's update the recreation, okay? Will do. I'll add that into the simulation of the performance then. Let me just change back to that recreation first. Updating based on what Regina told us now. There, all done. Little wonder it smelled of animals. It was being used for the elephant. Behold Isaiah's apples, right? Yep, it was full of them the day before the show. They vanished overnight? Ooh, did you figure something out, Mr. Edgeworth? Quite possibly. You want to fill a bitch in? That is a tiny elephant. Which must still be a baby. A baby. Basket was moved the night before the circus performance. We deduced that the weights were switched out for the body at around the same time. Hard to chalk that up to coincidence, huh? And the next question we should be asking is, why was the cart moved? I think I can hazard a guess. The cart would have been blocking that door, which can only mean that somebody needed to open it. Now, let's see what's... Oh, great. It's locked. Let me ask a guard for help. Hey, Mr. Guard! Yes, miss? What can I do for you? That was fast. Guard, where's the key for this door? Oh, the warden keeps hold of that. I'll go ask her for it. And he's not asking anything about the giant green elephant that he just passed. All right, work. Warden Lagarde is the only one with a key, meaning if somebody did open the door, they would have had to get it from her somehow. Thanks for the help. Look at all these breakers. They must control the electricity for the whole prison. So we're thinking somebody got in here the night before the show, right? But what were they trying to do? Well, I doubt they came here by mistake, thinking it was a breaker. They must have come to tamper with the switches. Did they turn off the power? Did they turn off the power to something? Yeah, this was very hastily translated. Come to think of it, wasn't there something that lost power? I have lost power that had a breaker been flipped? I remember. It was the camera.
Take that!
There was a 3-hour gap in the security camera footage. Oh yeah, there was. So somebody flipped the breaker it was connected to? It seems very likely. Do you think it was the killer? It's true that shutting off the cameras would have made things easier for them. It would. Which means the killer would have to be someone who had access to the breakers. And it seems only one person has the key. Couldn't be. Could it? Dun, dun, dun! Alright, little thief, your work here is done. Oh, bye-bye. Yeah, I got a little bit of help then from when I jumped the gun. Oh, Jesus. First on the scene, the early bird wins the worm. Good morning, Mr. Winner. What? How'd you get here before me? Good morning, Mr. Edgeworth. I see you've made an early start. It's like 11 o'clock, lady. And I see you've made a late one, Judge Gavelle. This is not my only case. I am a very busy woman. Not all of us enjoy the freedom of a prosecutor relieved of his only current responsibility. Ooh, read. Oh, I do apologize. I meant, of course, an associate attorney. Associate. More like asinine. Fair. Be about that. Eustace, let us begin the investigation of the yard. Okay, I'll go get some officers.
Hold it!
That won't be necessary. Why not? We've already finished investigating the yard and won quite the prize in the process. But won? But I'm supposed to be the winner. Your Honor, I'd like to revisit your theory from yesterday in order to thoroughly disprove it. I would caution you to choose your words carefully, Mr. Edgeworth. As I am sure you remember, your badge is in my hands. Ooh, she is. I bet she's a joy at parties. How could I forget? You told me several dozen times already. Perhaps you'd care to try a different thing.
Overruled!
You've been warned repeatedly, yes, and each time my words seem to have fallen on deaf ears. Allow me to make this crystal clear. The committee cannot and will not tolerate insubordination.
Objection!
The fate of my badge and the whims of the committee are of no concern to me now. The only thing that concerns me is proving Simeon Saint's innocence. Interesting. And spoken like a true defense attorney. In that case, I shall be equally uncompromising. In the name of the goddess of justice, I will strike your case down without mercy. And when I'm done, your career as a prosecutor will be over as well. I hope you do not come to regret this. Judge Gavales. My theory remains the same as when I related to you yesterday. Mr. Carcerado did not see Mr. Knight's body when he passed through the tunnel. As such, the body could only have been dropped down the well during the show. We both know the only one who could have dropped the body down there during the show is Mr. Saint. She's not wrong. She makes a lot of sense. She really does. That's still your assertion? And you can prove it, of course. Of course she can. Who do you think you're up against? What Eustace means to say is that we received the final autopsy report just ahead of our arrival. She is a very busy woman. Busy looking after baby Winter. Snap. The victim appears to have died the night before the body was discovered. In other words, the night before the show. The cause of death is as stated. It seems the wound is 4 inches deep. Oh. Oh. Yowza. Simeon Saint was off stage for a period of 15 minutes. That was plenty of time for him to throw the victim's body down the well. Judge Gavale hasn't investigated the yard yet, which means... I fear there may be something of a flaw with your theory, Your Honor. You seem very confident of that. But do you have any evidence to prove it? Yes, I think I just might. After all the things she said just now.
Objection!
Sorry, Your Honor, but there's something else you're going to have to take into account. The well in the yard was rigged up to create a certain unique contraption. A contraption? Go on. You will recall that Mr. Saint was sent flying from the stage by the elephant. I did, just before he was to be absent for some time. He was only able to fly through the air thanks to a weighted rope he tied around himself. Dropping the weighted end down the well allowed him to complete the
Objection!
Wait, wouldn't that send him flying as soon as he set foot on the
Hold
stage? It's simple, really. He kept the weight from falling by using a stake to keep the rope up in place. With a second rope, he was able to pull the stake free, thereby controlling it when the weight was dropped. We have found evidence to suggest that the original weight was replaced with Knight's body. This was done by the real killer in order to create an alibi. She's ready. She's... The estimated time of death tells us that the murder took place early in the morning. The killer could have tampered with the contraption in the time between the murder and the shooting.
Objection!
You're saying Mr. Saint himself set this contraption up, right? Well then, who do you think is the #1 most likely person to have used it to dispose of a body? Even you must see how this works. If Mr. Saint was the killer, he simply could have done as Judge Gavelle theorized, without these extra steps. Miss Barry. Yes? Does anyone else know how Mr. Saint's trick works? Well, let's see. We had to get the prison's approval on what we were going to perform. So I don't think Simeon's the only one who knows. And there you have it. Interesting. You certainly have been diligent in your investigation. And yet, I fail to comprehend your actions still. Why do you not work to do what is right? Is what I am doing wrong? If so, who is it that deems it so? How can you not grasp me with that? How can you not see that you are doing wrong at this very moment? You are a prosecutor, and yet you aid the defense. This flies in the face of common sense. You are breaking every rule in the book. I think only of what is right and just, and act as I see fit in each situation I am confronted with. Ooh. This is the path I have chosen, and whether you can comprehend that choice is immaterial. But if you need to stand in my way, I will fight back and with all I can bring to bear. Perhaps the goddess of justice is testing me. Very well. If it is her will that we must fight, then I shall end this once and for all. Listen well, Mr. Edgeworth, for there is another reason why only Mr. Saint can be the killer. If the body was moved from the yard to the workshop, then Mr. Knight must have first been brought here to the yard from his cell. The only person who had the opportunity to do that is Simeon Saint. And thus, he remains the only plausible suspect. Mr. Saint took a cage with him to Mr. Knight's cell. But why would he do that? Why take such an unwieldy object all the way to the holding cell? Yeah, it is pretty sus. But we've all met Mr. Saint. That's exactly the kind of thing he would do. It's entirely possible that he took the cage with him out of absent-mindedness and nothing else. It may be plausible, but it is no more or less plausible than him having helped Mr. Knight to escape. Ugh, I need some real solid evidence if I'm gonna get her to budge. Yeah.
Objection!
Mr. Saint is far from the only one who had the opportunity. Which opportunity are we talking about again? We'd previously established that the time code on the security footage was off by 3 hours. And from this, we can deduce that there must have been a power outage lasting for that length of time, during which anyone could have moved around the prison undetected. Do you mean to say that our killer intentionally created this 3-hour gap? That it was no simple camera malfunction? Is that even possible? She's ready. She's got her arm up here. She's ready for you. It was completely possible to create the 3-hour gap using this.
Take that!
Our investigation of the art turned up something rather interesting. A panel of breakers. One which can be used to cut the power to the security cameras. We also learned that the door to the power room may have been opened around the time of the murder. What? Such a shame. To see one so capable fall so short of the mark. Mr. Edgeworth knows what he's doing. And how does he explain the lock on the power room door? Oh yeah, it was kind of locked up tight. Warden's the only one with the key. Those breakers are vital to the prison's infrastructure. I very much doubt that anyone could have gained access to the power room's key so easily.
Objection!
No, one person could have. I beg your pardon. That person, the killer, had easy access to it, in fact. And what's more, their position here is such that nobody would dare question it.
Objection!
What? There's no one like that. The breaker to the electric fence is in there. They would be questioned in an instant. There's only one person who meets these criteria. I can hardly believe it myself, but I have to follow where the logic leads. The person who had access to the power room key was...
Take that!
The real culprit is... Warden Lagarde. Oh, just look at you. Aren't you the cutest little poochie woo? He's not just a pretty face. Missile also has quite the nose for sweet things. It seems he's selling something very sweet indeed, and it's coming from you. Oh, darling, you're making me blush. I'm not even wearing perfume. Then perhaps it is the sweet stench of death? You're a regular poet, aren't you? I had no idea. But if I didn't know better, I'd almost think you were calling moi the killer. That is precisely what I'm calling you. What? Lagarde is the killer? Mr. Edgeworth, do you realize what you're saying? Oh, such a naughty. How could he suspect me? I'm the one in charge around here. Okay, stop kissing your little fox cat thing on the lips, ma'am. It's like we're in a murder mystery, aren't we? And equally far-fetched. This is preposterous.
Hold it!
Sadly, it is not, although I can hardly believe it myself. Where the evidence points, you must trust in the evidence. This piece of evidence proves that Warden Lagarde is the killer.
Take that!
Your scent betrays you, Warden. And here is your accuser. Look at those teeth. The police dog? We had him track a sweet scent that was lingering around a knight's body back when it was first found. He now appears to be smelling the same scent, and it's coming from you. Oh, darling, you're priceless. Really, you are. Your evidence is a whiff of suspicion. Verity, dear, do put him in his place. It seems Judge DeVale may have reached a similar conclusion to myself. You believe this to be no mere coincidence, Mr. Edgeworth? I do. After all, she had the key. And the scent found lingering on the body is hers as well. Were it just one or the other, we might be able to brush it off as coincidence. However, indeed, when it seems a conclusion approaches, perhaps we should hear what the warden has to say for herself. We should, and when we have, this case will finally be at an end. You're all being simply awful. Stop looking at me like that. Me, the killer? How could I possibly do such a thing? Verity told me everything she knows about the case, sweetie. The victim died in his cell, so by your logic, I would have had to have killed him there. But how am I supposed to have moved the body, especially as I never went into the prison? I was too busy with work, you see. I was cooped up in my office until right before the show began. Check if you like. You won't find a record anywhere of me having entered or left the prison proper. I haven't the first idea what harebrained theories you little scamps have cooked up. But I'm innocent. There's simply no way I could be the killer. Give me a break. Missile doesn't lie. Don't make it hard on everyone and just come clean. Oh dear, I'm afraid you are the ones making things difficult. As I just said, I never went into the prison. If you think I'm lying, go and check the records. Clearly wants us to check those records, which means they won't help us. We'll have to find another way of getting the truth out of her. Please, Mr. Edgeworth, stop being a big silly. You silly goose. You've made a boo-boo and you know it. I really want her to be French. And her name is Fifi. Verity told me everything she knows about the case. I'm not sure. Okay, let me get there. I wish the first time you go through this, all the green text, it just spells it out as if she's saying it, but then when you like get back to it, it just lets you skip it. Or no, I'm lying. Okay, I'm a liar.
Hold it!
Sure, maybe you didn't go through the main entrance to the prison. But what if you took another route? Oh, come now, sweetie. You surely don't mean that awful, filthy tunnel they discovered. Why, until yesterday, I had no idea it even existed. No, you had another way in, I'm certain of it. A route that didn't require going through the main entrance or the tunnel. The route you took when you went through this location.
Take that!
Through the fence? Warden, you took Knight from his cell and brought him into your office, which just happens to be connected to the yard. You had a way through the fence. Then you would have been able to circumvent both the entrance and the tunnel. Gold star for creativity, darling. Darling. And how would I have gotten through the fence? The extremely high fence, topped with razor wire, with thousands of volts of electricity going through it. Yeah, how is she supposed to have gotten through that? Fence's electricity supply can be cut off from the power line. And only you had the key, Warden. No one but you could have done it.
Overruled!
Utterly ridiculous. The power room was on the prison side of the yard. It's just a design flaw, to be honest. Warden Lagarde was on the detention center side. How would she have even reached the power room? Oh, look at the birds in the corner above their heads. Exactly, Verity, darling. Well, clever puss, you've dug yourself in a real hole now. If there is no record of Warden Lagarde having entered the prison proper, then the idea that she could have shut off the fence by using the breaker is out of the question. But there must be some way she could have done it. Take a deep breath, big guy. Lose your cool and you've lost everything. But if I don't find a solution, she might still wriggle out of this. Hey, I said, take a deep breath, not freak out and completely lose your cool. There's nothing to be gained by banging your head against the same wall, yeah? No matter how you look at it, Warden the guard couldn't have done it.
Objection!
Mr. Edgeworth, oh. You aren't doing yourself any favors by obstructing justice with your silence. That was a reflexive objection. But now that I've yelled it, if I don't come up with an answer, it's all over. I have one more thing to add, if you'll permit me. Something that explains how the warden could have shut off the breaker from the wrong side of the fence. Yes, because it's not as impossible as it seems. But enable her to shut off the breaker? She couldn't have done it alone. But what if she wasn't alone? Oh, now we're talking. Way to flex the old gray matter, kiddo. I believe that Warden the guard had a overruled. Enough. You disappoint me, Mr. Edgeworth. What do you mean? Mr. Edgeworth has said nothing wrong. The inmates of this prison are all issued with security bracelets. The ones that raise the alarm if people go where they're not supposed to. Ah! I see that you've realized your error. And we are, of course, within the prison grounds, where not only the bracelets worn, but even the guards surveil each other for signs of wrongdoing. Despite all that, no one noticed Mr. Carcerato's escape. The only ones who are free to roam are the animals. They most certainly could not have operated the breaker. No, so our accomplice must have. Then who did it? Given that it cannot have been a prisoner or a guard.
Objection!
I wouldn't be so quick to rule out either, Your Honor. The fact is, there's one person, someone whose movements weren't restricted. And I have just the evidence to show who that free-roaming person was.
Take that!
This is one of the prisoner's bracelets. Indeed, a broken bracelet belonging to a certain self-proclaimed model prisoner. What do you mean? And who is this prisoner? Oh, we got the finger. We got the finger. Frank saw it. Warden the guard's favorite inmate. Oh, look at that face. Ew, licking up her sweat. It's strange, isn't it, Warden? That he was able to keep his broken bracelet hidden and wander freely around the prison all the while? That is pretty funky, and I don't mean in a good way. It couldn't be the case that he was permitted some sort of special leeway, could it? Although if you are in the habit of giving such leeway to certain others, Bonita Canis, for example. Oh, although you are in the habit of giving such leeway to certain others. Bonita Canis. I hate that name. The D's and the H's and then the K. Like, I can't.
Overruled!
Mr. Edgeworth, that is pure speculation. Well, it's speculation. In that case, why don't we ask Mr. Sawbit himself? I'm confident that he will confirm for us that he and Warden the guard are accomplices in this crime. If the two of them would work together, a certain route into the prison becomes viable. The real route by which Knight was moved from his cell to the prison proper. Recall that there were two big obstacles in the path. First, the security camera outside Knight's cell. Second, the electrified fence in the yard. but she was able to remove both obstacles in one fell swoop by having Mr. Sawit shut off the corresponding breakers. Alright, Mr. Edgeworth, you've had your fun. And? Do you still deny it, Warden Lagarde? No, darling, you've got me. I admit it. Warden? Tell me this isn't true. Sorry, Verity, honey. I'm afraid it is. Frankie helped me do it. No way! You did it, Mr. Edgeworth. You got her! Nice shooting, cowboy. She won't be wriggling out of this now. As Mr. Edgeworth said, I had Frankie switch off the breaker. But we didn't kill Knight, did we? No, sweetums. No, we didn't. What? Warden, explain yourself. Oh, Verity dear, I doubt your precious goddess will want to hear my excuses now. She is all merciful. You have but to confess, and you shall be saved. Oh gosh, alright. I was being threatened. I had no choice but to do as he said. See? Odhidharma Canis. Odhidharma. That awful assassin. Canis? How long has it been since that awful man came here into my beautiful prison? I'll never forget the day he arrived. That motherfucker's scary. Look at him. Looks like a... He looks like those little green things from Dragon Ball Z, actually. The Cybermen. You know what I'm talking about? The moment we were alone, he said this to me. You should know that I have other dogs. Dogs not confined to this fine institute. Others? Yes, very loyal dogs. Dogs who will do anything I ask of them. Of course he wasn't talking about real dogs. He was talking about his very human cronies. And then he said one last thing. I would recommend that you take care in how you treat me during my stay. I wouldn't want to have to set my dogs on your precious family. I had no choice. I gave him that cell. I gave him everything he asked for. Everything? Wait, is that how he became the fixer? Yes, I obeyed his every command and smuggled in him all he wanted. Eventually, I brought dear sweet Frankie into our little conspiracy. He agreed right away, of course. I made things easier for him to do. So, you were smuggling in contraband? How exactly? Once a week, late at night, Frankie would shut off the breakers. That allowed me to go from my office into the yard without being seen by the cameras. Then I simply dropped the packages down the well on the prison side and went back through the fence. Each one of them spritzed with a little of my perfume. So that's what the sweet smell was. Yes, it was a signal for Canis's dog. When he picked up the scent, he would fetch the packages and bring them back to his master. We had to make sure Rocco wasn't in his cell at the time, of course. Can't have been easy keeping him from finding out. Oh, we're all very much creatures of habit here at the prison dock. Everything runs to a schedule, meals, exercise hours, that sort of thing. We knew when he wasn't there. That adorable bear of his freezes with fright at the sight of Canis's dog. Poor thing. So there was no risk of him raising the alarm, either. His oversight over everything here at the prison was a perfect equal. Her on his side, Canis couldn't fail. Frankie would sneak out again early in the morning, switch the breakers back on, and our work was done. Apart from fixing the time codes on the cameras, which I would do later when I got the chance. You've shared a great deal, Warden. The goddess of justice will surely take your honesty. I've been the most dreadful fool I know I have. I'm supposed to be the one in charge. The day of Knight's murder was also one of our delivery days. So, Frankie, bless his heart, did his usual work with the breakers. There was no package for me that day, so I didn't go out into the yard. That's the secret behind the fixer system. The police have been trying to track down his accomplices for the longest time. Even I've had to lend them a hand myself. Heaven knows how called this secretive scoundrel into my office to talk to me. But no matter what I say, or how much evidence I present him with, he simply won't say a word. That's why you were interrogating Mr. Canis over and over. Exactly. I was trying to track down those horrible hench people of his. What the hell? Wait, that... Her face being blacked out just fucked me up. I borrowed everything the police had on that rotten scoundrel. I watched his every move, intercepted every letter he wrote. His letters? Then I suppose she must know about his correspondence chess games, too. But no matter what I did, I couldn't turn up any clues as to who his underlings were. Living in fear like this, it's... Oh, you just can't comprehend it. As you have just heard for yourself, Mr. Edgeworth. The words of Warden Lagagdi, Warden Laguard's confessions have cleansed her of all suspicion. God, the typos in this are bad. Surely there is no need to hound her any longer. Has she really been cleared of all suspicion, though? Or is there more about her to uncover? I'm sorry, Your Honor, but this conversation isn't over yet. I think the goddess of justice would agree. You mean to make her suffer even more than she already has? Unfortunately, her suffering under Mr. Canis does nothing to prove her innocence in Knight's murder. She admitted herself that she knew of and even facilitated the so-called fixer's delivery. I believe she used that same route to move Knight's body. And where is your evidence, Mr. Edgeworth? It's in the fact that the sweet smell on Knight's body is the exact same scent Warden Lagarde uses to signal a delivery. What do you make of that? Well, that's because we've done it so many times by now that the whole well probably smells it. Some of it must have just rubbed off on his body. That does match the statement that Mr. Carcerado provided. The smell. Yeah, it always smelled kind of nice down there. Nice? Gee, I don't know. Smelled sort of like dessert, I guess. His words would seem to suggest that the smell had permeated the well. You've been rendered speechless, I see. Then I hereby move to adjourn this session of the court. No! What do we do, Mr. Edgeworth? What can I do? Is this as far as we go? Finally. So we're actually done? Yes, Eustace, it seems we are. By the power vested in me, this court is adjourned. God, so many. Who was that? Come on, Judge G. First, things were just getting good. Bender? Are you objecting to my adjourning this session? No. Would have shouted objection if I wanted to do that. You do you, G. Adjourn, don't adjourn, whatever floats your boat. What are you doing, Mr. Tender? Don't worry about what I'm doing. let's all just take a chill pill, shall we? By which I mean a square of chocolatey goodness, anyone? Are you trying to get yourself charged with contempt of court? No, not bad. I just had a quick request to make it all. As Simeon Saint's lawyer does. Ah, yes. I had forgotten you were his real attorney. How could you? You're killing me here. And yes, you've been making Mr. Edward do everything this whole time. Right you are, which is why I figured it's time to put in some work. Work, you say? Somehow I don't believe you've worked a day in your life. Let's say this is me doing some prep work for the upcoming trial. Mind if I question the witness? Now? Amusing, but what is there left to ask? I've got a feeling you're not funny. Beefs here has something more to tell us about the killer. Do I? Yes, indeed. See, as a major player on Team Simeon, I can spot a sympathizer when I see one. And you don't think he did it, do you? So tell us, who did? Come on, spill the beans. We're all ears. Mr. Edgeworth, what's he doing? Trying to coax Warden Lagarde into giving something away. Ask yourself, why would she go to all the trouble of sending Knight's body on such an odd time? Because she wanted to frame Mr. Canis. He did? No way! If he was convicted of committing murder here, that could have been grounds for a transfer to another prison. Most likely, a more secure facility. And where he'd be out of her hair forever, huh? Precisely. Saw her opportunity. It's easy. No. Tate can't not be the killer. That's not fair. I was all ready to prosecute him. I know, right? But maybe we should find out what she thinks first. Don't want to get the wrong guy, yeah? At least now Mr. Winter has to go along with it, too. Well, Warden, are you happy to testify further? Of course! How could I refuse this silver-tongued devil? Eddiekin, you have such a way with words. Just doing my job, thief. Besides, one can't tell the truth without telling the whole truth, can one? I'm simply dying to tell all verity, darling. Do say you'll let me. As you wish, or is uninjured. I can't pull that off, Mr. Oof, me either. Thank you for the timely intervention. Hey, it's the least I could do. Kay's not wrong. I've been leaning on you hard. Besides, the defense never rests. Am I right? Simeon's depending on us. Sadly, I think I just about exhausted my reserves of cool lawyer chat there. We can't foul this up now. Which means you're up to bat, Mr. Miles McSmiles. Show him that never rests spirit. Shall we? Fabulous. Let's get started. I really don't think anyone could have done it with that dreadful man Canis. There's no telling what went on between him and the victim. Perhaps he simply took a disliking to him. He's certainly right. But whatever the sordid details, it was him. He stabbed that poor man to death. Whew. And then he had his dog dispose of the body. That simply has to be what happened. The victim, Mr. Knight, yes? I did him the most terrible disservice. Yes, you killed him. I suppose you could put it that way. If that weren't such a sorry excuse for a warden, this would never have happened. That's why I have to clean up this terrible mess. Warden Lagarde. As ever, your honesty is truly to your credit. I am certain Mr. Knight is looking down and weeping tears of gratitude. You've clearly never met Mr. Knight. We all know what Kings did for a living. I doubt the killing part gave him much trouble, especially as the victim was already injured. Neck, I think? Couldn't turn his head to the right, poor dear. That's what they told me when they brought him in anyway. Must make some sort of report for the warden. Prisoners are admitted. You seem keen. You seem keen for us to think you didn't know much about Mr. Knight. That's because I didn't, sweetie. And the victim was simply a fun target to that monster, nothing more. I expect Canis used the chisel that was hidden in that chest set, don't you? Awfully grisly business. Just imagine, the man probably didn't even have the time to cry out. I see. Thank you for your thoughts. They were very helpful. Actually, I'd like to hear about them in a little more detail if you don't mind. Oh, Mr. Edgeworth, you're making me blush. I could chat with you all day. Ooh. Oh, don't look so nervous, darling. I'm only teasing. Of course we can talk about them some more.
Objection!
Objection. Warden Lagarde, you strike me as being more careful than the image you project suggests. Oh, Mr. Edgeworth, please call me Fifi, or Sweetie Pie. However, I think you may have been a little less careful than you realize in this instance. Teehee. Aren't you just the most adorable little creature? Don't be embarrassed. We're all family here. Ooh, I don't know how to make that sound. Come on, Mr. Edgeworth. Don't let her get inside your head. You said earlier you didn't know much about Knight. In which case, I find it rather strange that you know about the chisel. Well, of course I do, darling. Do you think we don't check prisoners when they come in?
Objection!
You're not talking your way out of this, Warden. That is entirely irrelevant, and you know it. Knight didn't bring the chess set into the prison himself. It was brought by Mr. Saint when he came to visit. Knight wouldn't have had it with him when he first arrived. What? I mean, of course that. When Mr. Saint came in,
Objection!
you checked him? I find that hard to believe. Because if you did, that makes your story all the stranger. If you found the chisel, why did you not confiscate it there and then? Eek! Judge Gavale, did you tell anyone about the hidden compartment in the chest set? I did not. If no one leaked our findings, then how exactly did you learn about the chisel, Warden McCall? Because it certainly couldn't have been when you checked Mr. Knight or Mr. Saint on their arrival. Indeed. Such a thing would imply an intentional oversight if it had been found, yet let through. Precisely. So Lord Lagarde can answer truthfully this time. Where and when did you learn about the chess set? you want answered, then allow me. I submit that you... All right, darling. There's no need to rub it in. You got me, all right? I question Knight. That was when I learned about the chess set. But please, you have to believe me. I did not kill him. One moment, Warden. This is a significant development. The court requests that you make a detailed statement on the record. Any objections, Mr. Edgeworth? This is not an actual courtroom, ho. None, Your Honor. But thank you. Thank you, darlings. I'll clear up this awful misunderstanding, I promise. Okay, you need to stop kissing your little cat thing on the mouth. In there. Very well. Go ahead, Warden. And please tell the truth this time. Lies are starting to wear thin. My chance to expose her. I said I questioned Knight, but it wasn't anything serious. You understand. You understand. I make a point of talking to every newcomer to our little home. Knight was no different. We just had a little chat. And after we talked, I had him taken back to his cell straight away. I'm sure you did. The more she lies, the more thoroughly she seals her fate. So it was simply a conversation with a new detainee. That seems entirely above board. Exactly, Verity, darling. I knew you'd understand.
Objection!
Well, I don't. What proof do you have to back up your statement? I suppose we shall see, won't we, Mr. Edgeworth? You may begin your cross-examination. This bitch, let me tell you what.
Hold it!
If he really had gone back to his cell, he would still be alive today. You really think I murdered the poor man right there in my office, don't you? But that would mean... But what would my motive have been, darling? I told you I barely knew him. I'm no angel. I have no heinous. But Knight had nothing to do with that animal. She really does hate Canis. Warden the guard. I must insist that you append that statement to your testimony. I'm no angel. I have my grudges against Canis, but Knight had nothing to do with that animal. Where is it? Let's see it.
Objection!
Judge Guffail, I'd like you to take a look at this. Notes about a game of chess. What is the significance of this, Mr. Edgeworth? It was found in Knight's cell. Which is exactly where you said you saw it too, Warden McCard. But you didn't just see this game in Knight's cell, did you? You've seen it in Mr. Canis' cell too. What do you mean?
Objection!
Oh, come now. Don't tell me you haven't taken a look at the chessboard in maximum security. I imagine you watch his every move like a hawk. Or rather, I imagine you feel that doing so is your only option. But she wants to find out who his cronies are, right? Personally interrogating your own prisoners is highly irregular, to say the least. But as you said, Mr. Canis had threatened you, but your precious home at risk. That is why you took it upon yourself to question. You wanted to find out who dogs were. So what if I did? You also told us you read his letters, which means you must have known about one key fact. You knew he was playing correspondence chess. And then who should appear but Knight, carrying with him a diagram of a very particular game. We ourselves use that diagram to infer a connection between the two men, and it seemed you came to the same conclusion. But in your fear, you took your reasoning one step further. You surmised that Knight was his henchman sent to kill you. Which is the real reason she had the chat with the Bronster. If his boss wouldn't crack, maybe he would. When you questioned Knight, you made another discovery. For there inside his chest set, you found a hidden chisel. The murder weapon itself. As far as you were concerned, that chisel meant one thing. Canis. Thus, you convinced yourself that Knight was working for Canis, and that is why you killed him. I see you have no more excuses. Judge Gavale, your verdict. Much as it grieves me, there would appear to be little room for doubt. For doubt. I hereby give my verdict. Bronco Knight was goddess of justice. Who is it this time? Oh. Oh, she is scary. That's scary. She's like Vivi. Pardon? It's all a joke. It's a big, stupid joke. You people just don't get it, do you? I think we've proven that it's you who didn't understand things correctly. Me? Please, darling, I understand it all perfectly. Well, thank you very... Oh, I understand it all perfectly well, thank you very much. And I understand that there's a glaring contradiction in your theory, Mr. Edgeworth. That's fun. She's doing like a hula hoop with the fox. You're just grasping at straws now. I have no time for this. Your Honor, the verdict. I am curious to hear what the warden has to say. What? You're a doll, Verity. I just have one last thing to say. Then Mr. Edgeworth can declare himself the winner. You rang? Does anyone remember a certain autopsy report? Of course, we received the finalized version only this morning. That's right. And I was listening to what you told us about it, Verity, even if nobody else was. You said the wound was 4 inches deep. 4 inches? Wait. Riddle me this, Edgeworth. How does a tiny chisel make a 4-inch wound? Oh. Forgive me, oh goddess. I came perilously close to making a terrible mistake. Looks like your theory is the one that doesn't hold water, Edgeworth. What now? What do we do? It'll be fine. Mr. Edgeworth always comes through, right, sir? Looks to me like the... Milesatron? Is that what I'm supposed to get out of it? Looks like the Milesatrons out of commission. Oh yeah, Atron is out of commission. You're an attorney too, aren't you? Why don't you do something? Turn things on their head with a desperate bluff. Blurt out the first mind-blowing thing that comes to you. Detective, I'm as much of a man of action as the next guy. Without evidence, we're up a creek without a paddle here. This might be the end of the road. We can't give up now. We have to do something. I'm certain that Warden Lagarde is the killer. The only explanation that fits the facts of the case. But if the chisel wasn't the murder weapon, what other bladed weapon is there in this facility? It seems we still do not have all the answers, nor the evidence to provide those answers. Alas, we must wait until the trial to see this matter resolved.
Objection!
Ah, come on, G. You're just giving the killer a chance to destroy the evidence. Are you calling the judicial process into question, Mr. Fender? Oop, nope, not me. Nuh-uh. I tried, Miles. Any bright ideas? What is... Clearly not the chisel. found it. This question throws everything we've deduced out the window. Nothing to add, Mr. Edgeworth. Allow me to remind you that claims not supported by sufficient evidence are subject to the harshest penalty. Hopeless. I can't think of anything. More time. Loath as I am to admit it, I can't give up now. Remember what Mr. Fender said. Simeon's counting on us. Without us, remember how upset he was? He was devastated. Nobody's in more pain than him over Mr. Knight's death. There's no way he did it. But if we can't save him, who will? And what's more, he believes in us, sitting in that cell waiting for us to bring him some good news. And I, for one, won't walk away until we have some. Hey. Gee, Miles, your little buddy there is quite the motivational speaker. And she's right, too. You find yourself on the ropes? Think of your client. Picture them pleading with you to help them. Doesn't that make you want to fight back as hard as you can until the very end? Think of your old man, good old Gregory. No matter how bad things looked, he'd always find a way to turn it around and save his client. You're just like him, right? If there's any way to force a turnabout here, you're the one who will find it. Simeon's counting on you. Judge Gavale. You seem to composure, Mr. Edgeworth. But if you mean to attempt a defense, I would advise you to consider the ramifications. You have repeatedly proposed misguided theories and have made numerous false accusations. If you do so again, I will have no choice but to judge you unfit to serve as a prosecutor and relieve you of your badge for good. Right. I have put forward a number of theories that prove flawed in one way or another. Have I made some sort of fundamental oversight? Wait, so my theories were misguided? Nothing to say. Court will tolerate no more of your time wasting. I hereby, Mr. Edgeworth, give my verdict. That's it. I've been thinking about it the wrong way all this time. My theories were misguided. I was being misled.
Objection!
The defendant, Simeon. I think it's a little too soon for that, Your Honor. I'd say it's well past due, darling. Wouldn't you agree, Verity? Mr. Edgeworth. May proceed. What? I'd like to remind you of a few things. The sighting of his dog helmet, the fact that he wasn't at the show. These and other factors made Mr. Canis the obvious suspect at first. This again, Mr. Edgeworth? You seem almost proud of your
Hold it!
What if the real killer wanted us to suspect Mr. Canis? What if it was all carefully arranged? What if the same was true of the chisel, our purported murder weapon? Knight had been stabbed multiple times in the same place with a bladed knife. What if he was stabbed with a chisel after the real murder weapon had been removed? Just to leave traces of blood on it for us to find. That is how the killer misled us into thinking the chisel is the murder weapon. Oh, my hate neck veins. Oh, I'm just... Why mislead us in this way? Why indeed? Why make us think the chisel's a murder weapon rather than whatever was really used? Gordon, you took advantage of what the chisel seemed to suggest. What it suggested? What are you talking about?
Hold it!
Mr. Winter, if I were to tell you the murder weapon was a chisel, what would you think? Huh? That Mr. Canis is the killer? And there you have it. That was the trap the warden set for us. Ooh, Mr. Canis has a bunch of chisels, so she wanted us to think it was one of his, right? Indeed. That was her plan right from the start. To frame old Hidharma Canis. Your reasoning would appear to be sound. Warden Lagarde certainly seems to harbor a deep and abiding hatred for Mr. However, I think you know what I'm going to say next. That alone is not sufficient proof that Warden Lagarde is the killer. I knew it wouldn't be. There's only one thing that will prove it. Real murder weapon. Now that we know this. If you cannot prove your theory, this conversation...
Objection!
If we could just find the real murderer...
Objection!
How many times do we have to go over this? We searched the prison from top to bottom. Eustace is quite correct. No other possible murder weapon has been found. So I'm afraid you're at a bit of an impasse.
Objection!
I can still prove my case yet, Your Honor, because it's still here inside this prison. This would have made sure of that. The security gate? I am glad at least you remember what it is. Do you remember what it does? Of course I do. I'm not an idiot. The security gate detects metal. Which means you can't bring anything metal into the prison or take it out. Oh. Precisely. There's no murder weapon. It cannot be taken off the premises. But nor can it have been brought into the prison in the first place. We find ourselves right back where we began. What I am trying to tell you, Mr. Edgeworth, is that if you wish to believe that there's another murder weapon here in the prison, you will also have to explain to me how it got here. Alright. You know that the chisel was smuggled into the prison inside the pocket shut set. But our contention is that the chisel is not the real murder weapon. So if the weapon is outside the facility, then there must have been a way to bring it in. Yes, the question of the hour is this. Can you show me this alternative route? How did the weapon Warden Lagarde get? How did the weapon Warden Lagarde use to get into the prison? Borrowed evidence from the police to help with your investigation, is that correct? Why, yes, sweetie. Everything related to Canis is with me now. Heaven knows how many times I've called this secretive scoundrel into my office to talk to me. Of course, that's how. The fact that this is here with us shows how a belated object could have been brought into the facility as well.
Take that!
Allow me to remind you of our conversation with Mr. Canis yesterday. Yes. It was but one of my bells. One of only two in existence. Just two? Two and only two. One for my knife, one for my beloved helmet. Exquisitely crafted. Utterly. My ears are my guide, after all. And I must be able to use my tools precisely. Of course, as you said, the knife has long since been taken. So you see, there is a way for objects to be brought into the prison unscrutinized. As part of the evidence, Warden Lagarde borrowed from the police. What? Can't page this up again. Mr. Canis' knife was part of the evidence in the case against him. That evidence was here in the prison. Not only that, but the knife had a certain bell attached to it. The bell that was attached to the chisel. Correct. The killer took the bell from the knife and attached it to the chisel. That can't be right. chisel only had Mr. Knight's fingerprints on it. Easy enough to explain if the killer wore gloves. She made it look as if the chisel was the murder weapon and then attached the bell to it. In so doing, she made sure that all the evidence pointed to Mr. Canis. And who had access to the evidence from which the bell was taken? Why, the only person to whom it had been entrusted. Who was it, sir? Who's been messing with the evidence? I believe that would be you. Isn't that correct, Warden McGuire? But bells aren't exactly rare, you know. Anybody could have said
Objection!
Unluckily for you, that isn't quite true. These particular bells are unique because there are only 2 of them. What? By attaching that bell to the chisel, as good as declared yourself. But you don't have any proof that the knife was ever even here to begin with.
Hold it!
I don't. Not yet, anyway. Mr. Winter, I'd like you to order the search of the prison. Another search of the prison right away. Huh? Find something that's gonna make things awkward for me. This isn't about what's convenient for you. You have to find the truth. You are a prosecutor, aren't you? Well, yeah, but, you know, it's worth an excuse for a prosecutor. If I had investigative authority, I wouldn't be sitting on it. Anyway, it's not my decision to make. The warden would have to authorize it. You know full well that she will do no such thing. You have the power to insist on a search. Use it. Sorry, darling, but not without evidence. The goddess of justice cannot bestow her blessings on those who lack the proof to support their claim. Our work here is done. The rest of this matter will have to be settled in the courtroom. She's just itching to get behind that judge's bench. No, if we give Lagarde the opportunity, she'll destroy whatever evidence is left. I have to object. I have to stop them. But what do I say? I don't have anything concrete to offer. What am I thinking? I'm never this reckless. But no, I can't back down now. I've got to put everything on the line. Do it on the line. I'm not a prosecutor right now. I'm an associate attorney with a client to defend. Only I can save Mr. Saint, and that means... Even if my chances are 1,000,000 to 1, it's still worth a shot. It's now or never. Should I object? Always. Is that the point of this game? I suppose this must be how a certain serial bluffer always feels. Regardless, I cannot walk away.
Objection!
Wait, Your Honor. Better be good, Mr. Edgeworth. I've got it. Got... what? The real murder weapon, of course. I know where Mr. Canis' knife is. Do you really, Mr. Edgeworth? I do. Not at all. If I did not know better, I would say that you were bluffing. Ha! You wound me, Your Honor. I don't know the meaning of the word. This is terrible for my heart. There's no way you could... It's not here, I tell you. Well, would you be so kind as to enlighten us? Where's the real murder weapon? Think, Miles, think. Somewhere not even the police would search. Blind spot in the zoo. A hiding place that the warden could be absolutely sure of. A hiding... No. If you insist. Come on, Helmet, open up. Did she use the same trick? No, that's ridiculous. Isn't it? But the more I think about it, how many foolproof ways to evade detection could there be? Mr. Edgeworth, how long do you intend to keep us waiting? There's a famous possibility I'm right. Wrong. We stand to lose everything. Your Honor, this is where the real murder weapon is hidden.
Take that!
Here? In the yard? Indeed. Indubitably. I don't believe I understand. Would you care to explain a little more? Where exactly is the real murder weapon hidden?
Take that!
Of course. That's where it must have been. Huh? What's the matter, detective? It's the metal detective, sir. It's, reacting to the alligator. What? How? The metal detector was reacting to something inside her after all. Your Honor, I'd like to remind you of this piece of evidence. The chisel. Didn't we just figure out that isn't the murder weapon? You might recall that Mr. Canis hid this chisel in his dog's mouth. Would you believe that the real murder weapon was hidden in much the same way? Oh, see your face? That's right. The murder weapon is hidden inside the alligator in that pond over there. What? No way! We detected the presence of a metallic object during our earlier investigation. Judge Gavale, we need to know what's inside that alligator. Understood. We will need to summon a veterinarian. I'm sure I could get the little sweetie to open up for us. I'd be happy to give it a try. Please, by all means. Warden Lagarde. The real murder weapon is about to be revealed. Why not do the right thing and confess? I have nothing to confess! As you wish. You can simply wait and watch as your lies are exposed. Sir, we got it. This has to be it. It's over, Fifi Lagarde. The real murder weapon was bodied Harma's Canis's knife. Mr. Canis's knife. I know this is really body harmer. Making you the only person who could have killed Bronco Knight. I'm not the criminal here. This is all Canis is doing. I did the right thing. Knight was a threat. He was Canis's lapdog. Curse that despicable man, Canis. Why did he have to come and ruin my perfect little home? He could have been happy forever if it wasn't for him. He ruined my paradise on earth. He ruined everything. Curse him. Curse that pitiless butcher, that awful, terrible, disrespectful man. Curse him. All the foxes. Oh, she's in. One, two, three, four. Is that what she said was disrespectful? Despicable man. Prosecutor Thwinner, sir. The test results have just come back. Thwinner? Guess we've all been under a lot of stress. Traces of Bronco Knight's blood were found on Mr. Canis's knife. Just like you said, sir. Congratulations on a stunning victory. Thank you, officer. Excellent work. You can continue complimenting me if you like. Yes, sir. Thwinner wins again. I think I'm welling up a little. Rage. Excellent work, Eustace. Just a few loose ends to tie up and we're done. Huh? What are you talking about? I just solved the case, didn't I? We've yet to confirm whether or not Knight really was working for Mr. Canis. It will be vital to know if Warden Lagarde was simply jumping to conclusions on that front. Huh? Huh? There's Clueless, and then there's you. Well, then I guess we'd better get back to our investigation. Alright, officer, you're with me. You're about to see the winner and a whole lot more. Here to witness first-rate investigative talent in action. Yes, sir. I'm right with you, sir. Can't wait to watch you at work. It's winning time! I expect this case will cause quite a stir. The attempted murder of the president is news enough. Now his would-be assassin has been murdered. But Knight never sought to kill the president in the first place. The truth is not always as important as it might seem, Mr. Knight. In the eyes of both society and the law. How can you even say that? You do not have to believe me. However, as a prosecutor, Mr. Edward is obliged to accept that this is the reality of the world he operates. Being a prosecutor is about more than proving people guilty. That's what I believe. We are all free to believe as we choose. But the law is not to be toyed with for our own personal goals. If you refuse to accept this, then you must prepare to suffer the consequences. What does that even mean? Wait, you're not gonna take his... I'm afraid I must be going now. Farewell, Mr. Edgeworth. Bitch. Judge Gavale is right. There must only be one set of laws for everyone. But if following that law means sacrificing the truth, can I really do that in good conscience? Let me in, you're out! Hi, Regina. Is everything alright? They let you out, right? Yeah. But I'm so confused about what's going on. Some guy just came and said I was free to go. And that I have Mr. Edgeworth to thank. You sure do. Mr. Edgeworth found out who the real killer is. Wow, really? You did that for me, Mr. Edgeworth? Eep. Oh, no. Stop staring at me like that. I'm innocent, I swear. Don't pull the rug out from under me now. Stop it, silly. It's true, he saved you, so say thanks already. Okay, Mr. Edgeworth, thank you. And a great big Regina Berry thank you for me, too. Mr. Saint, talking directly to me? All victories, I suppose. Can I ask just one question, Mr. Attorney? Sure. I thought Bronco was my friend. No, my best friend. I trusted him, but now... But now? Well, it's just... I never knew. I never would have believed that he could hate somebody enough to want to kill them. He kept something like that from me, and he never really trusted me, did he? That's not true, Simeon. Of course he trusted you. No, he didn't. If he'd just told me, I could have stopped him. I could have told him that hate never helps. But he had to let go of all that stuff. Mr. Saint, I think you're forgetting something.
Take that!
It's the chess set I brought for him. Knight had hidden a chisel inside. I imagine he meant to use it to escape. Oh, what? You mean he was using me? No, he believed in you. He knew he could count on you to bring it, and that you would never be so untrusting as to look inside. I imagine that by not telling you, he was hoping he could keep you from getting caught up in his mess. Oh. Bronco, why didn't you tell me? At least you understand now, right, Simeon? I'm sure he does. He cannot show it, but Simeon's no dummy. Good night's sleep, and he'll be completely over this whole thing by tomorrow. That's not as complimentary as you think it is. I'll try. I have to. For Bronco. I have to show him I can become the best animal trainer out there. That's the spirit. Oh, I almost forgot. We're doing a new show soon. I'd love it if you could come, Edward. Oh, that guy's still there, huh? I'll be joining Regina on stage for this one. That's right. The Very Big Circus is the biggest, most fabulous event in town. We'll have oodles of fun. Sounds great, doesn't it, Mr. Edgeworth? Come on, we should go. Well, I'll think about it. Alright, Simeon, we've got some training to do. I think it's time you and Regent got acquainted. What? Regent the tiger? No way, I can't. No. Oh, you'll be fine, silly. You'll never meet a nicer kitty cat. I can't. I'm with him. There is not a paycheck big enough to make me go near a damn tiger like that. Please, Regina, anything but that, please. Another satisfied customer. Well, that was really something, Smiles. Talk about pulling it out of the bag. I couldn't have done it without you, Fender. Without your timely intervention, she would have gotten away. Besides, I have you to thank for even being able to investigate the case in the first place. Oh, stop it. Pat me on the back any harder and you're gonna make me blush. Or topple over. I suppose it would be asking too much for you to take this seriously. Seriously? Miles, my friend. I'm always serious. Anyway, how does it feel to save an innocent client? That's what it means to be an attorney, after all. An attorney. Gotta say, I had a blast. Reminded me of the good old days. Like Gregory was standing right there beside me. It's been like a zillion years since I felt this warm and fuzzy on the job. That's good? Bittersweet? I'm not sure. Say, Miles, you ever thought about going into the defense game full time? Excuse me? You know, pick up where Gregory left off. Get out there and actually help people. Hey, pal, don't get any big ideas. Mr. Edgeworth ain't about to switch sides. Why not? Coming over to the light side's all the rage. Everybody's doing it these days. Come on, Mr. Fender. You know it's not about that. Chill, team, chill. Don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted. I was just asking a perfectly innocent question. No, you weren't. The heck you were. It's like you got a mean defense team there for yourself, Miles. Bender, I am a prosecutor. Yep, and I'm an attorney. You could be one too. Serious. Well, I've said my piece. If you change your mind, you know who to call. I'll be waiting. Deuces. Follow in my father's footsteps? Did I really do such a thing? Did I really do such a thing? I'm gonna become a defense attorney just like my dad. An attorney like my father. Me? The end. All right, well, that was the end of that. The captive turnabout. And next is Turnabout Legacy. Now, this next one is a doozy. So it's gonna take me a while to get through this one, I think. But it's all good. It's all enjoyable. Anyway, that is all for, what is this one called again? The Captive Turnabout. Those are some long parts, and that was interesting. Anyway, that is gonna be all for tonight. I'll probably stream it tomorrow. Anyway, thanks for hanging out. I will see you all later.